Tesla FSD Supervised has landed in Australia and is tantalizingly close to allowing all Tesla owners to make their cars fully autonomous under supervision, for now at least. But does it work? How does it negotiate Australia's giant wildlife? And what on earth is a hook turn? All will be explained as my guest today is Tesla content creator Ryan J. Cowan. Hello, mate. How are you?
Good, Will. Thanks for having me on.
Firstly, we both have exactly the same car, new rear-wheel drive Tesla Model Ys in white with black interior. The only difference is mine is sat in my driveway right now, totally sedated, as you swan around gallivanting over Australia with your full self-driving tech. So not jealous at all, of course. But the last time we spoke, you had no intention of upgrading to the new Model Y. So what tempted you?
FSD. I got a bit of early insight as to the launch plan and was very grateful to kind of take up that opportunity and make the jump over. But yeah, as we spoke last time, no intention. We were very happy with our 2022 Model Y. And actually, the second thing that really was quite compelling was I do some content for other brands, and one of them reached out. They needed content of the new Model Y, and it kind of dawned on me, this is just going to keep happening. I need to upgrade the car with the line of work that I do, all the Tesla content. So yeah, it was just, it was time to just make the jump. And, you know, we still had to pay to upgrade. It's not like this was some sort of brand deal. Financially, we had to work it out really quickly, but we made it work. And yeah, it's been pretty awesome, as you'll find out.
Yeah, well, it's been so cool watching your content of your new car versus your old one, just for your banner alone. That looks so cool with your new and your old bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But watching your videos of you driving around on FSD now, you keep putting out these little clips. And, you know, one of the first ones I saw that really got to me was you did a successful 1.5 hour intervention-free drive from countryside into your city. Is it Melbourne, is it? Is that where you are? Yeah. And you actually got a little emotional at the implications of the technology. So can you talk me through and just share what made you get emotional about that?
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy experience. Like when you've spent your whole life driving a car and also having such a passion for the Tesla brand, and you've got all the haters in your mind that tell you this is never going to work, this is never possible. And then to be in the car and feel that experience of it just autonomously taking me into town. Like it was just, it's not something I can even do justice with words. Like you do need to experience it. It was pretty mind blowing. And it was just, as it was coming off the freeway, heading into the city, it just like that feeling of, wow, this technology really is going to change everyone's life. You know, that's not going to happen next year, but you can feel it in that moment that this is the future. It just makes so much sense. So yeah, I got, you know, teased out by making that comment that it was emotional. I wasn't sobbing in the car, but you could definitely feel just the sort of how impressive the technology was.
When I experienced it in that Cybertruck with the old version 12, I had that same sort of overwhelming moment, just the realization that nobody else knows around me that this car's driving autonomously. That was a weird thing. And then I just expand to like the safety implications of this. So as this is going to be rolled out, more and more people's lives will be saved, accidents will be avoided, and no one will even know. Yeah. It's such a weird thing to think about, isn't it? So lives will be saved, but no one will even know that their life has been saved thanks to this technology. And I can get overwhelmed just thinking about that alone. You know, just something I was talking about in a recent video was, you know, there's 10 million deaths over the past 8 years, I think it is. There's 280 million injuries from traffic accidents around the world over the past 8 years. These numbers are just, I can't get my head around them. And that's the beauty of what Tesla is trying to achieve here with autonomous cars and self-driving tech above all else, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the part that means the most to me as well. That is like the most exciting part. It's a really comfortable, pleasant experience. It's exciting as a Tesla bull, but knowing that it's going to make the roads safer. At the same time, hearing people and seeing people in the comments tell you that this is unsafe, you shouldn't be using it, you should have your hands on the wheel. All of the sort of hit pieces that have come out, even just last night in Australia, trying to tell people that this is not the right approach. But it's another thing to experience it. The car drives incredibly safe and will only get better from here.
Well, we'll get to some of the challenges that you've experienced in a minute, but let's just talk about you. You took your mother-in-law Kay out for a drive, and she's a Tesla owner and driver already, isn't she? She's just got into the new Y, and you let her have a go on FSD, and it's a great video. I'll probably be showing some B-roll now if you don't mind me nicking it and putting it on here.
Of course,
cool. Yeah, really recommend everyone goes to watch this particular video because it's so great watching someone who's not used to the technology at all just get in it and give it a go. And I think she said in it that it's possibly driving a lot better than her in her own words. And she went from nervous to confident pretty quickly. And then it also did an impromptu drag race, didn't it?
A lot of expensive cars. And I'm going to drag someone at the lights. And so I am like,
unreal.
I cannot be more happy than that.
I wasn't sure what it was going to do
nor was I. And I was like, am I going to beat...
If anything, I thought we'd drop behind.
No, that was fabulous.
It really put the gas down, didn't it?
Oh, that was great. Shame
it continues to surprise me.
Yeah, so just waiting to enter the highway, we have to kind of like go off between the second car, and FSD, as soon as the light went green, it went, oh, I'm just going to get in front of this car. It was kind of mind-blowing, to be honest, because you would just assume it's going to take the slower option and be a bit more patient. But yeah, it's just like a human. It's got no hesitation in that regard, in a good way. Yeah, and I think, on Kay's video, it's so interesting because she was a racing car driver and her dad was as well.
Cool.
She won't use cruise control really, or she won't touch autopilot, that's for sure. So she was genuinely nervous to try this technology, and that's why I knew it would be a great video because, there's so many people like her that are nervous about this technology. And then you could see it on camera. She just sort of like her mind started to change. She could see how impressive it was driving. And to your point, she was like, this is driving better than me. And it actually does feel like that. Like she's a great driver, but the way that it can see things, it's very evident that it can see more than us.
I was quite surprised to see in one of your video clips, it could see a puddle. And he was thinking, is that a pothole? And he sort of tried to drive around it, which is really cool. And another thing, a Tesla engineer got in touch, didn't he, in the message section, and replied to your video with, the car can adjust the speed based on detected road conditions, tyre wear, and torque. So if it hits a wet patch of road, for example, it knows what to do from that. I mean, it sort of goes beyond what you think of just a vision-only system being able to do, doesn't it? Just some cameras looking at it. It's the whole car is communicating with its central computer, and it's figuring out what to do. So, but of course, it raises a lot of questions in people's minds. Like, how's it going to do that? How's it possibly going to go around potholes? And I guess, hopefully a lot of the time it'll see them. And occasionally, like humans, it won't see them, I suppose.
Yeah. And just going back to that comment from the Tesla engineer, like that is the stark difference, or one of the stark differences between your standard autopilot and what we're experiencing with FSD Supervised is like it does consider the conditions. So if I had autopilot on in that country back road in the rain, the max would just go straight to 100 kilometers an hour, which is the speed zone. Whereas, and you're dialing it back on the steering wheel because you feel uncomfortable. Whereas I engage FSD and it sits around 70 kilometers an hour because it knows, like just intuitively, that it doesn't feel appropriate to do the speed limit at this time. And on that particular road where it was, like a country back road, as I said. So that is just one of those really clear differences. But then, I continue to just put it in different scenarios, car parks, obviously living out in the countryside, it's really different to what you would get in the city where there's a lot of standard roads and fleet data. We've got like roads with no line markings and dirt roads. So again, it just continues to impress me.
How are Tesla being made aware of critical interventions? Are you providing feedback to Tesla like via the screen? Is that something that's still happening? Yeah. Okay.
As soon as you disengage or intervene, there is a pop-up that prompts you to use the voice command button to just record like a 10-second explanation as to what happened. My understanding is that's not necessarily listened to by another human, but that goes into the data set to try and work out where there might be some potential issues and get them addressed.
Something I wanted to discuss with you, which I've been getting my head around recently, is Tesla's claim that autopilot technology is 10 times safer than a human. Okay. And then listening to Elon Musk just today at the All In Summit, which is another brilliant video to check out. He discusses the new version of AI4 that's going to be 2 to 3 times safer than a human. And with iterations before the end of the year, and AI5, for example, could be 10 times safer than a human. And I'm just, the conflict in my head there is hearing about autopilot being 10 times safer, and then FSD is still not caught up to that level. I think it's an interesting thing to point out to my audience, and I actually had to grok this earlier just to find the answer to this. But basically, autopilot's 10 times safety advantage applies to controlled highway use with constant human oversight, reflecting optimized conditions. So there's one crash for every 6.7 million miles versus 700,000 miles for the average human. FSD 14's 2 to 3 times claimed targets broader, complex urban scenarios where its new 10 times parameter system is still maturing. And currently, urban safety lags at about 1.5 times safer than a human, whilst on FSD. So this discrepancy arises from scope, data context, and evolving goals, with 10 times as a future target. So I think that's something that's really interesting to point out, because I've noticed lots of people are hearing the 10 times safer from autopilot to FSD. Does that sort of clear it up? Do you think it's a worthwhile thing to say?
It can get confusing. And also Tesla sometimes refer to autopilot software as being autonomous software. Like they kind of, especially Elon will interchange the word autopilot with full self-driving. So there can be confusion there. But I think specifically on this subject, again, as someone that had used autopilot religiously every opportunity, love it. I think it's brilliant. I know that it has its flaws and it's somewhat basic in comparison to full self-driving, but all of a sudden you just look back on standard autopilot and go, I don't think that I can go back to that now, knowing what the car can do. Like it's the hardware living up to its full potential right now. It's going to get better, as we know, but it's just leaps and bounds more impressive and more comfortable and safer feeling than autopilot.
Elon Musk also just described it with the next over-the-air software update before the end of the year. He said the car will feel sentient by the end of year. Now, feeling sentient is the feeling that I had that time ago in a Cybertruck with version 12. Do you sort of feel that like it's not just code anymore? It does feel like a sort of ghostly chauffeur, doesn't it?
Yes.
Driving you around. That's the feeling I had. I just wondered whether you can try and explain the feelings, the difference in capabilities from autopilot to FSD. There is a huge leap, isn't there?
Yeah, because you can, kind of expect what autopilot's going to do. With full self-driving, it's very unexpected, and that might sound scary, but it's not. It's just that it's much smarter. So you can do a 1.5 hour drive into the city, and it's going to behave differently on that same road every time. Whereas autopilot, you can expect the same thing. FSD it might be changing lanes. It might be, it's just a whole mind of its own. It's in its current iteration. I would agree with you. It feels like it's really thinking about everything that it's seeing. Autopilot does not feel like that. Yeah, I can't wait for V14. I think that even small things like we had enhanced autopilot doing lane changes. Now we've got full self-driving doing lane changes. The difference is phenomenal in terms of the smoothness. It doesn't feel nearly as sketchy as with enhanced autopilot. Sometimes you feel like it might not even complete the lane change. This just feels, it's better than changing lanes than I am in terms of its smoothness.
That's great. Yeah. Oh, just hearing that. We have regulations in the UK that deliberately stifle a lane change. So if it doesn't make a lane change quick enough, within a few seconds, it has to return back to its lane. That's how stupid the regulations are here, making it more dangerous. So
that would be more dangerous. Yeah,
it is more dangerous. And people with enhanced autopilot have been saying this for a long time. And of course, blame Tesla. They think it's a Tesla issue. It's a regulation problem coming directly from UNIS or the Department for Transport here in the UK. Anyway, let's not go down that route because I'll have a beam up on it for the rest of the video. Let's talk about your wildlife in Australia, because you were mentoring kangaroos, which was fantastic in your video with Kay. You've got spiders over there that could do some vehicle damage if you hit them. I mean, have you noticed any sort of problems with wildlife, and has the Tesla, has it under FSD avoided anything so far?
As I mentioned in the video with Kay, I have seen a kangaroo sort of like 30 to 40 meters in front of the car, and it seemed to render it as a pedestrian, but it didn't slow down because I wasn't going very fast. That was the only sort of sneak peek I got at how it might potentially handle a roo. But yeah, a lot of ducks and sort of different bird life, it does definitely slow down for. Where we are is like almost a nature park. There is kangaroos literally out this side of the window eating grass. So they're everywhere for us. Yeah. But we're pretty regional. Like it's pretty peaceful out here. So the animals like it, but I will get to test more and more how FSD responds with animals.
Yeah, well, how quickly it can respond to a rude jumping in front of you on a highway. I mean, yeah. I guess in theory, it should be able to respond quicker than a human.
Yes, the response time that I've experienced so far feels superhuman, because not only does it sight things before I do, the way that it can react to those things is phenomenal. Like, that is why you would always be driving with FSD on, because you just feel like it's going to see more than I can. It's also looking, the side and the back as well. Like, you can't.
Yeah, it's got many more eyeballs than we have, isn't it?
Yeah.
Faster brain than we have as well. So
yeah.
So one of the biggest we've got all sorts of challenges in the UK. Like, not sure if you saw the video in Swindon. That's a roundabout in the UK, and it's got 5 roundabouts round it, and then Tesla released a video of it nailing it, just going through it, 3 or 4 times. Whereas in Australia, you've got a thing called a hook turn. Can you just explain to our audience what on earth that is? And, is it a good system?
Yeah, it's not bad actually, but
okay.
It's a little bit complicated because we've got so many trams here in Melbourne. There's a section of the city where you do actually need to wait on the far left if you want to make a right turn, and you're essentially just pulling way over for all the tram traffic and the rest of the car traffic to pass. When the lights change for the opposing direction is when your car will hook around and go with the new flow of traffic. It is sort of like a prime spot for where you would see collisions, so you do need to be careful. And that's why everyone's kind of going, oh, how does the Tesla handle hook turns? Now, I would say in Tesla's video that they put up of the filming in Melbourne, it just did the hook turn flawlessly. I didn't quite have that experience, but it still was able to completely understand what they were. It just didn't seem to want to get me in the right spot on the road, as in it didn't want to put me in the far left lane and wait. Once I got it in position, I re-engaged FSD and it knew what it was doing. So maybe it was just the examples that I tried, but it obviously just needs a little bit more refinement specifically on how to handle hook turns.
It's particularly great with your videos that you're not sugarcoating this. You're clearly showing the mistakes it's making. That's exactly what we all need to see. We all need to know its sort of limitations for now and then watch its progress. And have you had any successful parks?
I have had one, yeah.
Hey.
And I captured it on video. It wasn't technically a park, but it pulled into what looked like a perfect place to just kind of plonk the car after the navigation had arrived. So, and that was one of like the first days I was filming. I was pretty amazed by that. Every time you get to a destination, you can see it thinking, where should I go? And often it will just try and do, blocks and work out where there's a nice spot to pull over, but it doesn't tend to often really stop in the right spot yet.
Have you had any reactions from passers-by that you've seen, like random strangers and stuff? Because I noticed you did speak to someone out your window at one point. It's like, it's driving itself.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I think just being sort of one of the only people in Australia right now, which I'm very grateful for, to be sort of putting it through its paces, there's other Tesla owners that have recognized the car and kind of tried to see what might be happening on the screen. And of course, it's always got FSD on at the moment. It's not obvious enough, right, that it's driving on autonomously. Potentially auto park. There's been a few times where people sort of look at you like, oh, are you paying attention? But it's like, oh, the car is, I'm watching the screen because the car is doing the hard work for me. I've been very lucky to kind of have this opportunity. It's really important to me, just on your comment before, to put out genuine content and be realistic, but also have my head screwed on in the sense that this is overwhelmingly impressive and there's no one else out there that, well, certainly not in Australia, that can offer anything like this. So it's good to provide feedback, be critical where it's needed, but like, this is incredible and it's going to really change the landscape of our roads.
What regulatory hurdles do you still have in Australia to overcome to get it to be unsupervised FSD? Well,
that's a whole different kettle of fish, as we would say. So we're lucky, hence why we've got Supervised right now. There hasn't been too much in the way of Tesla launching this. In fact, I would put it down to like Tesla AI over in the States just working really hard to try and get this to us. Like switching to the first right-hand drive market is not as easy as people think. So they have done an amazing job considering that they're working on Robotaxi and V14 and all of the other things. So kudos to the team. I don't imagine they're getting much sleep right now. It's also not available to the public yet in Australia. So hopefully that is imminent, but I don't know. Once that's out, then there'll be more improvements to come and more updates. There's several things that full self-driving is missing here right now. Like we don't have any summon features or anything like that. So yeah, we'll be looking forward to continuous updates on that.
Well, we're hoping, as you're the first right-hand drive market to get it, that Tesla are going to be compiling an enormous amount of data and just flood the UK regulators with it. Go, well, look, it's working over there.
Yeah,
they got right-hand drive. Oh, yeah, it gets a bit depressing over it because I did a video the other day with a chap called Dave Dewson who knows a lot about regulations in the UK and LiDAR and radar systems and stuff. And the day after we put out the video, UNICE, who is the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, there was a bit of a bit more news that came from them, and unfortunately, it's looking like there may not be approval until 2028 during current regulations. It's like, for goodness sake, it's just it's so slow, and it's really frustrating when we can see it around the rest of the world. But anyway,
yeah, imagine where this technology is in 2028. Like that is a long time away.
The only sort of plus I can take from that is by the time we do get it, it'll be absolutely flawless. Just be like everyone just turns it on. Let's talk about the price of it then for you guys, because it's around $10,000 US, isn't it, for the FSD package at the moment, and I'll assume it'll be a sort of monthly subscription fee as well in the future. Considering the cost of typical, I don't know, mid to luxury range cars in Australia, when you put the monetary value on it and the value of time that it will give back to people's lives when they're using this technology, it seems very affordable and cheap for such a system, does it not?
I agree. My mind has really shifted on this only in the last week after experiencing the software for several days, because if you'd asked me before that, I would have said it's not worth $10,000. But again, just experiencing it and having that feeling of, wow, this is what it's going to do for people, like city commuting, long road trips, stuck in traffic. Like there's just so many scenarios where it takes the stress out of it. So I have changed my mind. I do genuinely feel that where its current price point is actually quite good value, considering that a lot of people are buying more expensive cars. Like some of the top sellers in Australia are much more than what you would get with a base Tesla plus FSD on top, which is 10,100 Australian dollars here. I do think they'll offer a subscription. Again, I'm not privy to that information, but I would imagine they would. Maybe they don't offer that straight away, but I'll be interested to see how that plays out, because there's a lot of people that have sort of paid for it up front. So I know they'll be keen to finally see their investment come through. There is one more point too, just on the price. Like I think when I look forward at Tesla's future and this potential of more affordable vehicles, plus the potential of unsupervised, it's a really interesting dynamic, right? Like, I actually believe, when I really think about it, that the cost of a Tesla vehicle will continue to come down with more affordable models. We know that that's their plan. When it becomes unsupervised, it feels like it's worth even more than $10,000. So it's just going to be interesting to see the scales on how they play that, because it is just a really interesting thing. Like, it's hardware versus software in some respects, and the software becomes the really important part, as it's always been for Tesla, but even more so now.
It's really having the imagination, though, isn't it? Because now you've felt FSD. Can you actually imagine sitting in a Cybercab, sat in the front of there, and there's no steering wheel, and it's the same FSD feeling that would be taking you into the city, and you're just sitting there, and all of a sudden you've got time back. I mean, that's the value of it, isn't it? It's future potential value, I suppose, when you don't have to pay attention anymore and it's just literally doing all the work for you. I mean, put a price on that. I mean, for people's hours and hours every day of commuting, that's a tremendous amount of time, isn't it? That could be spent doing far more pleasurable or valuable things.
Yeah. And to give you some perspective on how it feels, the biggest unlock in my mind will have been what I've just experienced. It's not going to be going from this to Cybercab or this to Robotaxi without a steering wheel. The big jump has been what I've just felt, which is the first experience of full self-driving, right? So from this point on, we'll get updates. I wouldn't be surprised if, and I'm saying this is not going to happen, but like, the feeling I have is, if next week Tesla said, oh, there's autonomous rides, we've been able to offer Cybercab, like, the system still makes mistakes. You need to be supervising at all times. I've had to take over multiple times, but 95% of the time it does feel sentient. And so it's not hard to believe that we will be driven around relatively soon in cars without steering wheels.
Yeah. Mind blowing, isn't it? It's just it's so much fun following the progress and the journey. It's taken a long time, hasn't it? I mean, Elon gets a lot of bashing just for predicting when he thought this would happen. But Christ, it's surely one of the most difficult problems humanity has ever had to face and challenge. And the more you know about it, the more difficult understanding just how it's even come to be and how close they've been before, and then had to rewrite the entire systems just to start again. So well, hats off to Tesla for getting this out there, getting people to use it.
And I'm so glad that they did go back to square one and sort of rewrite it, because like, it's such a scalable solution. No one else really is in the arena that Tesla is in right now. And they have almost silenced the noise and just focused on what will bring them this future. It's just remarkable. And I know that, people hate on the timelines and everything, but it's all going to be worth it, because this will be a worldwide adopted system.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, you must go across to Ryan's Model Y on YouTube and check out some of his videos. They really are fantastic. But we're going to carry on this conversation because I've got some exciting questions from my own Patreon. So if you want to join me over there and support the channel, it's patreon.com/Tesla Jigsaw, and we'll meet you over there and we'll get some more spicy questions for Ryan. So thanks very much for joining me, Ryan. I'm Will. This is the Tesla Jigsaw. Thank you, patrons. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.